Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by Living To Do's review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 13, called The Truth Always Comes Out. Before I get started with this review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the group scene with the girls. They get together at Carla's place for a sound bath session. Tells the girls about EKG moving out of the shared apartment and that he's in Houston for his college homecoming. And she says in a real world, there would never be a second date. I can see that. The real story is Michelle. Michelle's talking. She's talking about the text that she received from David. She said that was really weird. It was at the same time that he was out with Alan and Madison. And Madison's there. And Madison has that little nervous laugh. And she was quick to point out, oh, Carla was there. And then we left. And Carla said, well, do you remember he helped you look for your phone? Uh-oh, the phone. See what I think happens? What happened, I think, is that maybe her phone was lost. I don't know. Or maybe they're playing some phone game. But maybe he texted her that to find out where the phone was. I don't know. But that, I think, I wonder what, we know it was about 9:30. We could ask Carla what time were they there. But it looks like in the next episode, Michelle is starting to assume it's Madison. So, Carla says, well, whatever it is, the truth always comes out. And when she said it, like she was rolling her neck, and I thought to myself, is she trying to say something to us? What does Michelle know? Or does she just assume something? While the girls were at the sound bath, the guys were playing boxing at the gym. And Akichi was not there because, of course, he was in Houston. And at one point, David and Alan were in the boxing ring boxing each other. And I was just thinking, if David only knew what we're assuming, which might be true, while he was in that boxing ring, that would have been a different look. I think the outcome of that fight would have been different, even though David is a bigger guy. Anyway, let's talk about and Akechi. Nothing really went on here. They're dating, so they're meeting up at an ice cream shop. Looks like she's really not playing with him no more. She's just kind of over it. She notices that he's not wearing his wedding ring. He says, oh, I was just washing dishes and forgot it. Yeah, purposely. He told her that he's going to be going to Houston and that he would call or text her to check on her. And I think he asked if that was okay. So they agreed upon that. Later, she tells Dr. Pia that he's in Houston. They never did move in together. And he said he would text while he was in Houston to check up on her. And he never did. Leave this fiasco already. We're done. I don't know how much more you can squeeze out of it. Okay, let's go on to Carla and Juan. They meet with Dr. Pia, and of course, Dr. Pia is always interested in everyone's sex life, and Juan says that they're working towards it. He says that to everybody who brings up his relationship with Carla. I don't think he's really actively working on it. Dr. Pia notices that they both have a carefree sexual spirit, but not towards one another. So her suggestion is for them to do Tantra yoga. Carla's all in. That's her thing. So they had the Tantra instructor come over. Diana, I believe her name is. And Diana comes over and we see that she is real secure with herself. She looks like she only has a slip-on, like something you would wear under a dress. I don't even know if they wear slips anymore, but that's what she looked like she had on. They both, Carla and Juan, seem to enjoy the exercise. I think Carla wanted a deeper session, going deeper when they're feeling. She wants to get to a level where they're more connected. Uh, and I think Juan, he seemed to be more playful with it, kind of tickling her with the flower. They do have a very playful relationship. They brought up going to the bathroom in front of one another, and Carla she wants like no parts of it. She said she would never do that in front of Juan. Her kids go back up in her when she tries to drop them off. She's so cute. Juan apparently has no problem with it, and he goes, he does what he needs to do in his home. So that was all about them. But they're still, they're still here, not given much. Okay, let's move on to Camille and Thomas. And they're still getting along real well. I like to see their progress. They're interesting. It's promising. And it's very hopeful. Okay, so Dr. Pia comes over. And of course, they're going to talk about their sexual intimacy. Tom likes it when Camille initiates sex. Camille says she would like to see Thomas take the lead. You know, she wants to feel like a woman. She wants a man in the room to, when he's a manly man, he takes over. Manly instincts take over. You know what I mean? Thomas indicated that he gives so much oral sex to Camille that his neck hurts. Camille says she likes her hair pulled and her ass smacked. Thomas gave a devilish grin. I really think that Camille's sex life was broken into by a thug, and she's still looking for that action. Thomas says he likes some oral sex too. Camille said, "Oh, that's down the road type thing. He'll patiently wait." Later, Dr. Pia sends over a sex bag, a gift for them, and it includes ropes. Thomas said, "What those ropes talking about?" "Oh, don't tie me up. Do not hit me. Do not tie me up. Tie me up. You hit me, you get laid out." I don't like that. Anyway, Camille got a hold of Thomas and tied him up, blindfolded him, tied him to the bed. Thomas is like, "What's our safe word?" I didn't hear anybody respond. Poor Thomas. Thomas had his turn and he tied up Camille. He wanted to tie her leg in one area and the other one to another area. Camille, your dad sees this. Ooh, how embarrassing. He was kissing on her legs. Oh, my goodness. Activate that manlyhood, Thomas. It was cute. Anyway, they're happy. They're getting along well. I hope they make it to the end. And that's all on them. So let's talk about Madison and Alan. Dr. Pia comes over to them, to their house, and they talk intimacy and trust. Alan says he trusts Madison. Madison says that she trusts Alan with her vulnerabilities, and she mentioned his driving or his drinking again. She doesn't like his drinking. She doesn't find it attractive. I think that's just the card that she's playing to get herself out the marriage. Dr. Pia sent over a card game for them to play, and it was called Just the Tip. She might want to give that to David. On their date night, they talked about things that they liked, were dirty talk. Alan doesn't like dirty talk. They talked about foreplay. Madison admits that she likes biting. Alan likes to take a shower after sex. It's the first thing he thinks of. They talked about how sex relieves their stress. They both said that they get an orgasm when the girl is on top. They talked about, Alan brought up when he first saw Madison, he explained that when he first saw her, he couldn't get the right words together, but he said she seemed superficial and transactional. A club girl. And he knows those were the wrong assumptions. But Madison gets upset. He never treated her like that. He's always treated her with respect. But she gets upset when he, just was honest about his feelings. I mean, it was nothing for her to really get bent out of shape about. And so Alan wanted to give her some space. So he went ahead and got the dog and walked the dog. And he left. And then she's crying. So production steps in and they ask her how she's feeling. She says she's frustrated. She says she really worked hard to get where she is, and people always make these assumptions about her. I mean, she just makes the biggest thing out of the smallest thing. It was no big deal. She just wants to have an excuse to get rid of him. So they're back in the apartment together, and we see hidden cameras, and she wants to take a call from her friend Amanda outside of the apartment, and she doesn't come back. So we see Alan in his confessional. It's 12:48 a.m., and she's still not back. Well, the next day we see that Alan meets her in the gym. She's always in the gym. And she tried to explain why she felt the way she did. And okay, he listened. And then he said to her that, she talked about his looks. She judged him. It doesn't feel good, but they get past it when it's him. But we can never get past anything when it's her. She just gets upset so easily. And he brings up the fact that she didn't come home until 3:20 a.m. She doesn't call him or anything. And he cares. He wonders where she is. He wants to make sure she's okay. It's amazing how she can come in at 3:20 a.m. and still make an early morning gym session. He's all trying to explain his feelings. He says, that he had a bad dream, that he was forced to watch her marry another man. Alan, don't put that out in the universe because the other man is in the building. And then Madison had the nerve to say that Alan doesn't show empathy. Alan kind of lost it and stood up for himself at that point because he does show empathy. Everybody sees that. He's a nice, kind man. How could you say that? I mean, she really came in strong and wrong with that one. Sit down, Madison. Okay, so let's get on to Michelle and David. Michelle meets with Pastor Cal, and she tells him all about the text. You could tell that Pastor Cal thought that was just bull. Later, David comes in, and they talk about the text. He's still holding on to his lie. Michelle says it was suspicious. He won't show her the picture of the food he was talking about. And if he deleted it, Michelle, check his deleted deletes because there's a way to see it. He may not know about that. He starts to deflect and talk about old shit. They always do that. No. We're going to stay on point. Now, we understand he has been constantly rejected by her. So what you do at this point, if you want to see somebody else, just leave. That's all. Pastor Cal thinks, to unscrew their predicament, they need to communicate. So David doesn't want to bring his cousin Denise into the picture. He doesn't want her involvement. Until Michelle gets the receipts, which is a photo or a conversation with Denise, we're going to assume he's guilty. Outside of the meeting, they met Michelle and David, and they continued to talk about the text. Michelle goes, why don't you just have Denise send a message? He deflects. He doesn't want her to be in this. And he says what they need to do is the two of them just need to talk. He says, let's talk. When she went to go ask him a question, he said he had to go to work. Deflecting. So I guess David's representative has left the building and we now see the true David. A liar. A basement-dwelling liar. Michelle's no longer at the shared apartment. She's back at her place. And at her place, she calls Denise. Denise confirmed that there was no photo sent by her. She doesn't want no part of it. He called her and asked her to cover for him. She says, I don't want no parts. Denise is a real one for the girls. Well, that was the end of the episode. So next episode we see is, well, unless it's edited weird, Michelle believes that he was texting Madison. Ooh, I can't wait. Looks getting juicy. Thank you for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.